So we're going to jump back into Jarnail Singh's testimony to the Post Office inquiry now, where he's discussing his summary that he sent out to a paralegal and other within the criminal law team about the top 5 matters or the top 5 issues that they are facing as a criminal law team. And they identify several concerns, including a concern over what the second site report, which was underway at that point, was going to reveal. But what were they worried about? Let's jump into the inquiry.
Can we move, please? That can come down, thank you. To poll 0010-8394. And can we look, please, at page 4, please? And scroll down, please. Can we see this as an email to you of March 2014 from a paralegal?
Yeah.
Renata Prywork. Did Renata Prywork work in Post Office Limited Legal or Royal Mail Group?
No, legal. Legal, she assisted all of us in the team. I think that the names of all the people in the team.
And she says, "Hi all, I've been asked by Piero." Who was Piero?
I think, I don't know, for 12, 14, I think maybe he would be a joint team leader or head of legal when Hugh, I think, left by then. So he was, I suppose, a joint head of the legal team at the Post Office Limited.
I've been asked by Piero to collect information about your matters. Could you please create a list of your top 5 matters, including a short description of each matter? Yes?
Yes.
And then can we go to page 2, please? Can we see your reply to Renata and to Piero? Renata, please see below top 5 matters in criminal prosecutions. Yes?
Yes.
And if we scroll down, please. Number 1 is auditors training.
Yes.
And if we go over the page, sorry, at the bottom of the page too, I don't think it's in bold. Number 2 is Scotland.
Yes.
Number 3 is expert. One of the important issues has been to locate a suitable expert and instruct them. I'd translate that as?
Yes. Yes.
Identified an expert, accompanied Cartwright King to a number of meetings with expert, and it's hoped to be instructed shortly. Sorry, it is hoped expert will be instructed shortly. In these meetings, discussed important issues and assisted in briefing of the expert. By liaising with different areas of Post Office Limited, gathering information on technical aspects and funding, and Fujitsu as appropriate, and liaising between external lawyers and internal Post Office Limited departments, feeding information to experts who then become better informed to be able to deal with horizon issues and scope. Current and ongoing prosecutions cannot recommence until instruction of independent Post Office Limited computer expert is instructed and his report is in hand.
In hand, yeah.
Yeah. How many experts did you approach?
I didn't personally approach any.
How many meetings did you attend of experts that were approached?
That was left in the capable hands of Cartwright King, and I think Simon Clark was basically given the task. And I don't know what he did, but certainly, that's what it was. And
you say here that you accompanied Cartwright King to a number of meetings. How many experts did you
personally
attend upon?
I think probably only 1 or 2, but a lot of it was their CVs. I think they passed it over to me. But it was tasked for Cartwright King because they're the experts. They're the one who know what they're looking for. They're the one who will prosecute or not prosecute. They're the ones who would advise on those things. So it was left in their capable hands. So this is basically a 1-to-1. I mean, she wanted to know 5 matters I'm involved in, and I gave her 5 matters.
Wonder who these experts were that they were approaching and how many, if any, actually translated into appearing in the future cases.
And they're all about Horizon, aren't they?
Yeah, I suppose, yes.
4, Post Office mediation scheme. And then 5, revised prosecution policy and future of Post Office Limited prosecutions. You say Post Office Limited has an in-house security and prosecution team. As part of its remit, it undertakes investigations and, where deemed appropriate, will undertake criminal prosecutions in line with the business prosecution policy. If an incident is considered to have sufficient evidence to prosecute, it's passed to the Post Office Limited legal team for review and consideration against the evidential and public interest test. Legal team's recommendations are then passed to the head of security, and if satisfied, he will then make a decision on prosecution. And then you say, A, there's no doubt that this year will be the most challenging in terms of a number of key factors. The findings of the second site review, the £20,000 threshold on anomalies for potential audit and prosecutions policy, and significantly, proposals have been submitted for contract advisors not to precautionary suspend as a matter of course without first considering whether or not the subject remains in the post office, and then B, following the second site review and revised prosecution policy with a resultant cultural shift within the business, greater emphasis will be placed on fraud prevention and early intervention activities. It's envisaged that a number of fraud risk programs will be initiated this year, driven by emerging patterns. The success of these programs will only be achieved by a collaborative approach with other security strands and key stakeholders. You're reflecting here that there was a fundamental shift in 2014 to the approach to prosecutions, aren't you?
That's what I put. That's what.
And that's true. There was a fundamental shift, wasn't there?
That's what the business decided. I mean, I think it was probably at the meetings or whatever it is, but it's not my decision. It's what the business was going to do or not going to do. I don't know. I mean, I'm not part of the management. I'm not part of the board. Maybe one of the meetings I was part of, and that's what they decided the way they were going to go. So all I'm doing is putting down is one of the things I'm working or part of.
Sadly doesn't seem to have materialised in reality, because obviously they continued the prosecutions throughout this time up until 2019. So the top 5 issues that Jarnail Singh identified in 2014 for the criminal law team are all related to Horizon. It's very interesting some of the risks that they saw in relation to the prosecution policy. So seeing the second site report as a risk, so that would imply that there is the potential that they actually thought it wasn't going to be a good report for them and actually might contradict some of the things that they said. The £20,000 limit on launching claims against subpostmasters was one that they imposed themselves, but presumably it sounds like they saw that as a risk of further fraud. It would be really interesting to get the details on any of these anti-fraud programs that he envisaged in 2014, because it's not clear whether any of those actually came to fruition, and actually the substantial change in post office prosecution policy only actually happened in 2019, so some 5 years later, when they decided to stop prosecuting subpostmasters based on Horizon shortfalls.